paillets, chaud les Champs-Élysées, belle symphonie, je t'ai rencontré sans même y penser.
Rendez-vous aux Champs-Élysées. The show is back. Rendez-vous aux Champs-Élysées avec Mayoline Mascari et ses invités. Une émission, un espace de réflexion, de transmission, de guérison pour nos cœurs et pour nos corps. Un show, une plateforme trilingue pour réaffirmer nos liens avec nous-mêmes et avec Zot. Pour nous rappeler who we are. Yes, c'est haïtien nous y est. Rendez-vous aux Champs-Élysées. Yesterday gives wisdom. Aujourd'hui, demande plus de responsabilité. Demain, si bon Dieu voulait, n'a gain pour nous prendre courage nous à demain. Nous sommes de retour. Bigger and purpose. Stronger together. Mayoline Mascari et ses invités, rendez-vous aux Champs-Élysées. Nous pral plus loin passer des trois petits paroles.
Oh, paillets, chaud les Champs-Élysées, belle symphonie, je t'ai rencontré sans même y penser.
Welcome everyone to another segment at Rendezvous Champs-Élysées, YTT, HAD, yesterday, today and tomorrow. Hier, aujourd'hui et demain. This evening, we have a great show for you, a great segment. Of course, we're gonna ask our guests the questions we've been asking for the past 10 weeks. Of course, we're gonna ask them. That's gonna be a surprise, a few surprise questions for him, but I'm sure he's gonna be fine. He will answer us. I don't want to do the introduction, but I want everybody please participate, write your question down, and like, share. Let's build this family together, this community together. Without delay, I want to say welcome. It is such an honor to have you with us, Jason. Can you please introduce yourself to our guests and tell us a little bit about you?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, and it's an honor to be here. Um, my name is Jason, as you know, um, and I'm here. I'm guessing to give my perspective on things from a law enforcement point of view. So as far as that is concerned, my background in that is I did serve 21 years in the New York City Police Department. I was born and raised in New York City, and I retired in the rank of sergeant. And I worked in many different areas in New York City. I actually worked in all five boroughs. I personally like to move around a lot and see different communities. So, any questions you may have, I'd be more than happy to answer and engage with you guys.
Oh, thank you so much,
Of
Jason.
course,
Looking forward. There's so many
of
questions.
course.
I've gotten so many questions to ask you tonight, Jason. Um, your journey in law enforcement. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started at the very young age of 22. Um, it's something I always wanted to do. I finished up with college and I went into the police academy in 1998. Um, I was a little uncertain of how that was going to work out for me, but overall, I embraced it. I liked it. I started my career up in Harlem and Washington Heights, working in the Transit Bureau. So we would patrol the trains, the subways. Um, I got promoted in 2008, and I went to the Housing Bureau. So those are the police that patrol the housing, public housing developments. And I worked in Queens. I did that for about 6 years, and I finished my career in Lower Manhattan. So, like I said, I enjoyed moving around and serving different communities and just experiencing a lot of new things. But overall, it was a very good experience for me.
Listen, when I think of you guys out there, risking your life every day for us, regular citizen. Um, do you sometimes, is there, during your career, while you were out there looking out for us, was there any moment that you feel like, oh my God, what am I doing? Because in my head I feel like we always come first when we call 911, or you guys are somewhere, you coming, your job is to save us. We're not, we're thinking of you as, some of us at least think of you guys as the superman. We're not thinking that you may catch a bullet, you may, die saving us, but we expect us to save you, to you expect, we expect you to save us. How did you ever feel, or did you ever question yourself about this choice of career?
No, no, never, not for 1 second. There's many moments of frustration
Mm-hmm.
and stress and anxiety, and you're working crazy hours, and it takes a toll on your home life and your family life, and sometimes even on your mental health. But at the end of the day, you know that you're there because you want to be there, and you're serving a purpose. And I'm only speaking from my own experience and who I am. I know, I think what you were asking, I think a lot, if you were to ask other police officers, they might say yes. They
Mm-hmm.
might say, what am I doing here? But I feel for me, it was a calling and something that I always wanted to do. And I always felt like I was doing the right thing, as frustrating as it was. And it's oftentimes unrewarding. It's very unrewarding. You're constantly being criticized, stigmatized, and it takes a toll on you after so many years. But at the end of the day, I feel like I was doing the right thing, and I didn't have any regrets about it. No, no.
You mentioned something about being criticized. This is the highlight
Mm,
nowadays, these days. If I'm going to bring up ICE, because when you say criticize, this is whenever you turn on the radio, the news,
mm,
YouTube, the critique they're getting for being unhuman, even unhuman. Uh,
mm,
of course, there's a part of me that still say they're putting their lives on the line for us. Yes, there should be a right way to do this. Uh, is there a moment, even if it's not you, Jason, your fellow officers, you feel, come on, man, that's not right.
mm,
So how do you
mm.
feel about ICE right now? I don't know if you can talk
No,
a little bit about that.
I'm here. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Tell us about
You asking me my personal opinion
your
about ICE?
personal opinion as law enforcement. What do you think? What do you feel about what's going on right now? How do you feel?
Well,
What can you change if you were able to change something? What would you change?
I'm very critical of ICE. I think that, and this is my opinion based on what I see. I think it's a disgrace to law enforcement. Um, this agency has been around for many years. Immigration and enforcement, I believe every country on this planet has their own right version of that. But once I started to see in the news these folks walking around with masks, with long guns, and again, I've served in New York City for 21 years. I've never experienced any law enforcement officer on any level, federal, state, or local, walking around with their face covered, with long guns or rifles. I've never experienced that.
But
So
Jason, isn't that because they are afraid of for themselves? They are afraid of getting hurt as well because
I've heard of that. I heard so, and I have this conversation with a lot of my other friends in law enforcement. Um, and what they always say is that there's a fear of doxing. And I didn't even know what that term was until recently.
can you
Uh,
share with us doxing?
yes, so doxing is where I guess now in the age of social media, they're able to get your name and your face and find out where you live, maybe show up at your home,
Uh,
intimidate you at home. And I've never experienced that. I was never even fearful of that, but it doesn't feel right to me. I feel like if you're doing the right thing, that's not something you should really be in fear of. I know there's a lot of bad people there, but from my experience, and again, I'm only speaking from my perspective, it's not something I ever feared. And I dealt with a lot of bad people. My agency would always, the NYPD would always look out for us. If there was a threat to an NYPD officer, we had a threat assessment unit. And if they needed to, they would protect us and send a car outside our home. And that rarely happened. And again, I retired 7 years ago, so things have changed. But I feel that that's an excuse. In my opinion, I think they're a little bit too aggressive. I don't like their tactics. And we can argue immigration policy all day. It's just from a law enforcement perspective, their tactics and the way they interact with the public is just not something that I did out in the street. Um, and what I see in the news, it just doesn't. I just can't associate. I can't, associate with it. It just doesn't feel right to me. And again, this is just my opinion. Um, I know sometimes you have to use force, and that's okay as long as it's justified. But I'm all about transparency, and I always believed if you have nothing to hide, show your face.
But Jason, you just mentioned something that what's the word? You just learned the word as well. You said to us, uh, afraid of being identified. They can find out where they live. The other day on the
Mhm.
news, you have judges that are saying people are calling their home or actually ringing their bells. Does that
Yes.
justify, even if it doesn't justify them masking, but maybe it's understandable that they are fearful for their family, if not their own lives.
And that's a good point. I remember watching something about a judge, I think on the West Coast, who they actually burned down her home.
Okay.
So that threat always exists.
Isn't
Uh,
it more now? It's more severe now. It's like bolder now.
for sure,
Nowadays it's
for
bolder.
sure. As technology advance, I mean, how easy is it to find someone's identity? Most people who are computer savvy could find it out within 5 or 10 minutes. They can find your relatives. They can find your address. They can find every. We all know how to find information on the internet. But my question is that why is ICE the only agency in the country, in all the 50 states, state, federal, city, local, the only agency that is wearing masks?
Let's play the devil's advocate for a minute.
Sure.
We just established the threat uh, to them. You know, deporting these people all over. You're talking about uh, cocktails, you know, drug dealers. If they find you, and they are not easy people. We can say dangerous people, right? You may, if I may take Jason friends, but Jason is the head of the cocktail, right? Those dealers, and they do not
Mhm.
play. So if I know that guy, his picture, if I got Jason's picture, I know how to locate Jason. And this is that job is different from, I'm not saying different from what you guys experience on a daily basis, being out there saving people's life, but deporting people, being exposed like that. Yes, they do need more training. But I don't want to justify what they're saying. I just want to try to understand why the masking is happening. Just can you see any, I'm not saying positive, I'm going to dare to say some positive to the masking?
I don't see it. And if it was when you're dealing with an immigrant population, you're dealing with a vulnerable population because most immigrants, whether they're documented or not, want to keep a low profile. They're new to this country, and if they're undocumented, they don't want police attention. In my experience, the most violent of criminals were Americans. They're not the new immigrants, the undocumented immigrants. Those folks, generally speaking, and there are violent, undocumented immigrants. There's no doubt about that. But for the most part, those folks want to keep a low profile. They want to come here, make a little bit of money. Um, Even the criminal element ones, because they know how easy it is for them to be gone. Right? They don't want police attention. The Americans, on the other hand, know the system, so they're more likely to engage with you, or more likely to be combative and fight with you and be more violent. And again, this is my personal experience.
Okay.
So I think the cops in LA, cops in Chicago, cops in New York, who I guarantee you who are dealing with more violent fugitives than ICE, if they're not wearing masks and they're not scared of being doxxed, why is ICE doing it? And that's my concern, because I can guarantee you police on the local level in the largest cities of this country are dealing with every night are dealing with far more violent criminals than ICE. And so if we're not wearing masks, why are you? If
Do
we're
you
not
agree that
scared, why are you?
maybe they don't have the training you guys had?
Oh, they definitely don't. That's not even dispute. That's I think they've even acknowledged that. Um, and not that, every agency has their own level of training, so I don't know exactly how they train or what their protocol for training is. But maybe that might have something to do with it. Sure. Yeah.
Had they gotten the training that they needed to do that job, to actually perform that job, or the same training as you guys police officers got, or the FBI got, maybe they would have handled this situation better out there on the
Yeah, I
street.
could agree with that. Yeah, I think training is something that's always beneficial to everyone, right? No matter what you do, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, training always goes a long way. And I feel like there was a huge influx of ICE agents, and they're still hiring from what I hear. And maybe they're not getting the right kind of training on how to de-escalate, how to, the best cops that I worked with they were the smoothest guys. They were able to do things so quietly, and just those were the best guys, the guys that don't make a scene, the guys that are able to just kind of swoop in and do what they have to do.
Even in the face of danger.
Yeah, even in the face of danger. That's part of the job. And I'm not minimizing, their risk and what they do every day, but like being an American and working in law enforcement for so many years, to me, it was always something that happened in other countries. I remember seeing footage in Mexico, and they were going after the cartels in Juarez and different places in Mexico, and they were wearing masks and I understood it. I get it.
See?
In
Going
Mexico,
after
I
the
get it.
cartels and wearing masks.
In
There's an
Mexico,
association to that.
I get it. I totally get it. But that's something that would happen there, right? It's not something that we expected to happen here.
But we
And
have
so when
some of these Mexico people here. We have some of these foreigners here. The same people they will be masking,
right, right. I
protect
see your
themselves.
point.
They are
I see
here
your
as
point.
well.
I see your point. I see your point. I just think that the optics of it aren't always that good. And I feel like a lot of the people that they are arresting and deporting aren't Mexican cartel drug members. I feel like they're a lot of the times they're just swooping into Home Depots and just grabbing. And a lot of people are here because they overstayed their visas that they're going after. A lot of people are here for minor crimes. And if you have to deport them, if that's the law, that's okay. That's a completely different argument. But the tactics you use to deport them should be equal to the threat that they pose. And everybody that they go after, they know. They know how many domestics does this person have? Does he beat his wife? How many times is he being arrested? Is he a felon? Is he, how many times misdemeanors does he have? So you kind of know because it's targeted enforcement. You know who you're going after. If you're going after Joe Smith, you know how many times he was arrested. You know what he was arrested for. But I feel like, based on what I see, they're all wearing masks, and I don't think they're all going after violent felons. So I'm just a little confused as to why they all feel the need to suddenly, and this just happened very recently. Why were they not doing this 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago? This is a thing that just happened suddenly.
Do you have any idea? Can you speculate? Maybe are they doing this for based on your experience as a law? Uh,
I think it's pretty
Professor?
obvious if you follow politics why this is suddenly happening, and it hasn't happened in the 250 years of this country, and it's just happened in the last 2 or 3 years.
Because we have too many illegal immigrants in this country.
I think that's I think that's been the case for a while. I don't think that just happened within the past year or two. I think um, we've had undocumented immigrants here for the longest, but suddenly within the last year or two, the tactics changed, and that's concerning to me. Um, and again, I'm all for enforcing the law. I think they should. I think in a lot of cases we're too lenient, and
Mhm,
we do allow people to overstay,
mhm.
and they do take advantage of the system, and I can agree to that. But I feel also, on the other hand, there's a way to deal with that, and why suddenly the aggression, the walking around with long guns, with rifles, covering up of your face. It just it doesn't feel right for me.
What would you say to them if you were to be called to maybe train them or a seminar with them?
Well,
How would you advise
I
the
can't.
leadership? Uh,
I can't. I'd be careful, about, I don't know what kind of training they undergo, but I do know about interacting with the public and apprehending people that you're going after. I don't know if I'd say anything specifically to them, but just based on what I've seen, and I see what everybody else sees on the news, I feel like their tactics are off. The way they go after people are off. So maybe, like you said, it is a training issue. Maybe they could use more training. Their job is necessary. We need them. I don't think anybody's disputing that, but how do we go about that, and how are they able to be effective and do their job effectively? And like you said, get the folks out who have been here too long, who don't need to be here, um, but without causing such chaos. And I think that's what's kind of like happened in the
I
last
do
couple of
agree
years.
the training is needed. I feel like I appreciate them. As you said, it's law, the law. We have to follow the law. The people who've been get get rid of the criminal. You
Mhm,
overstay your visa.
mhm.
We need you here legally. If you've been here illegally, try to get yourself in the into
And we
in
know,
paper. Yeah.
and we know how many folks take advantage of that, and it's been happening for decades and centuries, and it's a necessary it's a necessary thing for sure.
Then again, we always say America is a melting pot, right? So we're taking everybody. So
Right.
talking about danger, before I switch to the danger part of the job, for I don't know if you heard, of course, you married to a Haitian. You've been
I am.
you've been exposed to the Haitian families and culture.
Mhm,
Uh, I've heard people complaining about former President Biden
mhm,
got so many people in the country with this TPS status, temporary status, and
mhm,
they're criticizing him for doing so.
mhm.
Somebody said to me, one of my guests said, why couldn't President Biden help Haiti instead of having them come here temporarily? And then this is becoming a part of the mess with ICE because these people, if they get caught, they get, they're getting deported. So how
Mhm.
did you feel when that program just launched, if you know about it? The
I
Biden
don't know
program.
about it. I wasn't aware of it, so I'm not as
Okay,
well
fair
informed
enough.
about it.
But you know what,
Um,
Jason, you should because you're married to a Haitian. All right.
but I do know, I mean, I know on the surface that, they were taking advantage of it and he was allowing a lot of folks to come in here. I didn't know
That's
how
true.
bad it
That's
was.
true.
Yeah,
Taking
yeah,
advantage. It's like,
yeah.
this is the country to come. This is the country who offers you the better life,
Right,
the dream
right,
life. So
right.
it's not just the Caribbean or the Haitian, it's people all over. Do you
All over the
agree that
world.
it's not just the Caribbean trying to make it here in the United States, right, Jason?
I think it's always changing. I think, well, like you said, it is a melting pot. So it's not, no, it's not just the Caribbean. We have people from all over the world trying to come here. I think as of late, not too many people want to come here right now. And I do a lot of traveling right now. I'm retired. I have a lot more free time on my hands. I was just in Italy last month. I've taken my kids. We went to Colombia. I wanted to go to Haiti, but that trip was
Yeah.
canceled. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
going to go on a
No, no,
cruise to
not now.
Haiti.
Not now. You cannot
It's
go
on my list. I'm going to get to it one of
a
these
day.
days.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. But I don't think the U.S. is as attractive. I think there's a lot going on right now. Uh, um, but nonetheless, people are still coming here. They're always going to continue to come here because, like you said, it's opportunities here. The opportunity to make money and have a decent life is here, and hopefully, it's still always going to be here. But
And
there's a
would you
lot.
say that about any other country that chance America offers everybody from all over the world? Make that dream, the dream of your dream, you can make it here. So is there any other country in the world that we can say that about? I think America is the only country where you can become an American citizen. You can become one of them.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. I feel like anyone can become an American, and you'll be accepted as an American. And the process is a lot easier. Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree. America does offer that, and it makes it a lot easier for people to assimilate and be and live the dream here. I think there's a lot of other countries. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of traveling,
Mhm.
and you see a lot of immigrants, a lot of migration into the UK. I was recently in Ireland, and you see a lot of immigration into there. Um, but the U.S., is always known for that, known for accepting people in and that whole melting pot that you and the opportunity.
Yes, yeah.
It's
It's
lucrative
endless.
here.
It's
People want to
endless.
make money here, right? It's so sure.
Okay. I know we only have 3 minutes because I'm going to respect your time and my producer's time.
Okay.
Um, I don't want to go without talking about the danger you guys face every day out there
Mhm.
for your family. Because I always said to myself, I don't think I want to date a police officer because or married one. How would I sleep at night if my husband is working the night shift or is out there every day? I will have my heart. I'll be wearing my heart in my hands. Worry about the next phone calls that will come in. How does that work in family you know in your life in your personal
It's
life?
stressful.
Mhm.
It's stressful. I wouldn't advise doing it. It's you can make a great living, but you're gonna work for it, and you're gonna work holidays, weekends, like you said, overnights. A lot of times my shifts rotated. I worked days, then nights, and overnights, and it takes a toll on your family life for sure.
But
It's a big
do,
stressor.
do you find your family gets afraid? I mean, got afraid. Then thank God you retired. But
I think my wife did more than me. I think as young men and women, I think now looking in hindsight, I was like, wow, that was really risky. That was really dangerous. But when you're young, maybe a little bit brave, and the risk was always there, and I saw my life flash in front of my eyes many times.
Mhm.
But yeah, I could imagine that it's very stressful on a spouse and on a family, and the risk is very real. It's that I cannot downplay. The risk is very, very real. Um, there's a lot of violence out there, a lot of guns, and people are not, they're not scared of you. They're
Then,
not scared of
yeah,
you.
nowadays people are not
They're
scared of
not.
the police
They're
officers. You know,
they're
they're
really
not scared
not,
of the law.
and there's a lack of consequences. Even if you, I mean, we would lock up guy like bad people, um, with loaded firearms, and you'd see them out in the street a few days later, and it's discouraging, right? And it's the system. I always felt like the system needs to keep the public safe. Like if we arrest someone who's dangerous to society, why are we throwing him back out in the streets?
And that's also that we circle back. I wish
Mhm.
I had that mask. I hope that guy doesn't recognize me, that criminals out there right now, because they're
Yes.
scared of me. They can shoot me at any time. This is the police who arrested us. You know, let's get rid of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can happen. So,
Yeah. It can and it does. It can and it does for
and it
sure.
never once scared you enough to say, I don't think I want that path. I want to follow that path.
No, I think I was too far in at that point. Um, you just have to be careful and use your knowledge that you learn. But I still felt like I was doing the right thing, and I wanted to see it through at that point. But it was it's like the risk is very real. I can't downplay. The risk is every day. The risk is every day,
Would
and
you
you
advise
always.
would you
Mhm.
advise the young people right now who's, you know, looking at career path in life? Would
Yes.
you say this is a good path to follow? This is a good career as
I
long as
still
you
think it is.
recognize the risk and you
I
are
still think it is. I still think it
optimistic.
is. I'm 50. I'm retired. Like I said, I'm traveling the world now. My children have medical benefits. There's a lot of positive things. As if you come on as a young man or a woman, you could retire very young and you can still live your life and do a lot of things. But there's a risk that comes with that, right? Just like being in the military. I would say yes. I would say do it. Be careful.
Mhm.
Go to school, get your degree, move up in the ranks. The higher you move up, the
The
more
benefit
comfortable
will
it
be the
is. Of
retirement
course,
will
just
be
like
more
anything
more
else, right?
comfortable.
The less risky it is,
Mhm.
you don't necessarily want to be running around the streets for 20 or 25 years. But get your degree, do your time, and then move up, and it could be a very lucrative and rewarding career. Yeah.
That was wonderful. Jason, I'm not going to let you go because, as I said at the beginning before the interview, I'm
Yeah.
not going to let you go in like 1 minute. Um, some of the audience, they already know you before they even
Okay.
met you. They know of
Okay.
you.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So there
Okay.
was a subject that we discussed during one of our segments. Uh, in the Haitian culture, a woman, I have a couple of 3 questions, producer. We got to, Jason needs to help me with them. Jason, is it okay for a woman in the Haitian culture? It's not okay for a woman to take the first step to actually walk to a man and say that, would you like to have a drink with me? Or
Right.
I think I like you, right? So is it is it okay for a woman? How do you feel about it? Is it okay for women to take the first step? Do you see that? Do you view a woman differently? And be careful with your answer because I already share what your wife shared with me, with my
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about it.
I like it. I think a lot of guys just aren't used to that, and a lot of guys oftentimes are intimidated or just tired of approaching women. And it's almost refreshing if a woman, and she doesn't have to be in your face about it, but if a woman shows a little interest,
Mhm.
um, a guy can perceive that as a first move. I think it's refreshing. I think a lot of guys kind of like that. Um, they're just not used to it. You know, guys aren't used to women approaching them and acknowledging them as men. So for a man, it's kind of, you know, not just an ego boost, but it's I don't think men are too accustomed to that, especially like you said, in a lot of cultures, it just doesn't happen. A man usually has to approach. So I think a lot of people that I know, and myself included, have no issue with that at all. I wouldn't think any differently of that. I'd be flattered, so
Okay. So you don't see that view that woman in the wrong way just because she's the one who approached you. That's what I'm reading from everything.
no, 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 I don't. I
It
mean,
can
for
even
me,
be
no.
sexy, I think, right?
It depends on the approach, I guess, but but
Yes, definitely approach.
yeah,
It's
it
true
depends on who
because
the person
we
is.
we have our
But
way of doing it. I think it's yeah.
yes,
This is one
yes,
segment that I have to do. I have to take tip from men. What is
right,
what is the best approach? Yes, we can take the first step, right? We can approach that man, but we have to be settled about it, right?
yes,
Yes. Okay. The
yes.
second question, producer, I'm finishing soon. Jason, I'm finishing soon. I just want to cover the segment I covered before with the question. Jason, if you were to choose, that was one of our segment, between love and respect, which one will be your top priority? You will rather your woman respect you or love you. There should not be a difference, but unfortunately there is. Would you want your woman to tell you, I respect you, honey, or show you she respects you daily? Think about it. And that's the last question, I promise, so I can let you
Mm,
guys go.
tough one. Well,
This is you.
I always believe in actions over words.
Okay.
So I always go off of what someone shows me and not what they say. Because I always believe you can say anything, but I always choose actions over words.
So therefore, you want your woman to show you the respect, not just tell you she respects you.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
should I let you go with the last one, like love and respect, which is really
Ooh,
priority?
that's tough. I don't
Because
think
you
you
want the
can have
love.
one
I mean, how
without
can
the
you
other.
love if you don't respect them?
Exactly. I don't think you could have one without the other. If you love, you have to respect.
But we kind of like dissect the respect part when it's like a woman. I love my husband, right? But I'm making that decision without him. So if I respect him, I will let him know. Or he's talking to me while we have people on or family members, and that woman is talking to you, or that guy is talking to you, wife or husband, and they're not showing the respect. They just like talking to you
Yeah.
any type of ways. So this is the lack of respect is there, but they're saying, I love you, honey. But every time I'm out with you or I have people on, I have to be careful how you address me, how you talk to me. So maybe that's how the respect kind of play.
Yeah. No, it sounds like I think you can love someone and then
Not respect
sometimes
them.
step out of the boundaries. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we step out of line and step over boundaries. But if you do love somebody, I think that you'll acknowledge that lack of respect and try to do better.
Mhm.
Um, and if you don't, then maybe that answers the question if you love someone or not. Because if you love someone and you make a mistake, you're going to want to fix it.
Okay. The
So,
$1 million one. And
okay, $1 million
I know
question.
million
All right.
dollar one.
Okay.
What was the $1 million question? Yes. If you, I want you to go back. I'll send you the shows, but I want you to subscribe, Jason. I
Okay.
think you
I
have
will.
seen one or two because I sent you a couple. Um, just because I love you doesn't mean I belong to you or I'm yours. So now that was the subject of the segment of the show. And we said it's not a guarantee that a man will love that one woman for the rest of his life or the woman, vice versa. It's not a guarantee that that man or woman will never, ever cheat on a woman. They can have that commitment saying, okay, been there, done that. I'm focusing on you, honey. I'm not going to do that extra relationship or marital affair. But it does happen. That's my belief. And I said to the woman out there, do not break your marriage, your 40, 20, 40 years of marriage because your man had an escapade or your man had that, what men will call it a mistake, but it's not really.
Right.
So what do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? What your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's two that's kind of like the old school way of thinking, to try to see like long term, right? Are we going to let this one mistake, like you said, um just
Destroy
ruin
everything we built
everything?
because
Yes,
it's not a guarantee that the next person will
right,
never ever.
right. But everybody's different. I think that's the decision you have to make, and it's a tough decision. Do you stick around and continue to build, or is it something that you just can't get over and you move on? And I think that's an individual decision that we all have to make, and that's a tough one. I
It
bet
is a tough
there's
one. It is a tough
millions
one.
of people struggling with that probably tonight, trying to figure out what do I do, you know. So it's a tough, and sometimes you're right. Sometimes you stick it out and things work out. We're human. Everybody makes mistakes, and it happens. Women do it as well.
Are you saying yes? Yes,
We
I know
both
we do
do
it
it.
as well.
We
But
both do it.
is it should we categorize cheating or an extramarital affair as a mistake? We know it happens. It can happen. There's a lot of reason. We have other
Yeah,
sex. We have
yeah,
other shows that we talk
right.
about how it can happen, why it does happen. Men in general, last week, or uh, guess we had a doctor, a psychologist here with us said, every since men, it happens, right? It's like men, you guys were born to create, to make, to make, to populate. So, right?
Yes,
So that, and then you guys have the power to take care of these women. Nowadays we making money as much as you guys are. But
correct.
at the beginning of time, it was men you guys were taking care of us,
Right.
therefore, and you were responsible to make babies, to populate, to you know so I know it's a difficult one. Think about it, because
That's a
I'll get
tough
you next
one.
time.
That's a real tough one.
That's a
Yeah.
real tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you so much, Jason. Do
Yeah.
you miss you don't miss it? You already said that because you're traveling with
I
the
do
kids,
miss it.
you're
No,
loving
I
it.
do. I
You know?
do. And as you know, my wife got sick and I had to retire because of that.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
had to retire earlier than I was planning on do it, but I miss the camaraderie. I always liked being social and interacting with the public.
mhm.
And at the end of the day, I knew that I was serving my community and doing good and always trying to leave a positive impact. And it gave me a purpose outside the home, and I missed that. And I'm back to work now, and I'm doing my thing now. I found a new career, but I do miss the camaraderie. I do miss
Not the danger. Not the danger.
not the danger. Definitely not the danger. Not the danger. But working with the public, in the public, being a public servant is something that I miss,
Mhm.
and I'll never regret doing it. So,
Thank you
yep.
so much, Jason. Thank you. If you could leave the public with one message tonight, what would it be? What
Be
would you
kind
tell
to
us?
each other. Be kind to each other. And I guess you never know what anybody else is going through. So just try to, sometimes people come off the wrong way. Sometimes you just never know what somebody is going through. Doesn't mean you have to take their abuse, but just be kind to each other. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I think there's a
Well
lot
said,
going on
well
in the
said,
world right
well
now,
said.
but just it's all about love and being kind to each other. So at the end of the day, that's all. I think that's what we should be to each
That's
other.
so, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Respect each other. And as I say, for you guys at the police, as police officers, I want you guys to know that we appreciate you. Most of us, even though some of us are maybe angry of at everything that's going on, but we value you, we appreciate you. Jason, thank you so much for putting your life on the line for us every day for over 2 decades. And thank God you came out, you alive.
Still here. Yep.
Uh, and for, this is one thing as I'm closing. we always said we've seen it in movies, respect those police officers out there. So one, yeah, but sometimes it's the fear that we have of them sometimes that make them do certain things. When you afraid, you react. Some of
Yeah.
us, not all of us.
Yeah.
Was there really ever a reason for us to really be afraid beside being afraid of ice right now? Do you see what's happening, Jason? You lived it because you worked in the field. Some
Mhm.
police officers, they just get that sick stigma, or that
Mhm.
that fear of that person. They're going to automatically think that person is a danger, and maybe
Mhm.
that's what's create all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jason, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Hey, thank
Thank
you for having
you.
me.
It was a
Nice
pleasure
seeing
having
you.
you.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a
Thank,
pleasure.
thank you, Jason.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. It was you finally meet Jason, although we didn't have a chance to talk about uh, everything that we talked about during previous segment. But we wanted to thank Jason for his services as a police officer. Uh, let's be nice to each other. Let's appreciate them for every day for leaving their home, not knowing if they're coming back, but for putting you first. Whenever we have a problem, we call 911, expecting 911 to come to our rescue, to come to save us. We don't even think about them saving themselves, and they don't think about saving themselves. They think about saving us. For this, Jason, my heart. You guys have my heart, and I thank you. And we will always thank you. Have a wonderful week. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to comment. If you have more questions, please leave them uh, in the chat. We will make sure Jason gets them. And I'll make sure we post the answers for you. Ta-ta. Bye, Jason. Bye, everybody.
Au Empire, Show les Champs-Élysées, belle symphonie, je t'ai rencontré